Here in Zoom, let's go over some basic features to get to know Zoom and how to use it in your Outschool classes. So this video is for you if you're new to Outschool or new to Zoom and you need to learn how to use it to be a successful teacher on an online platform or Outschool. So we're going to go over your video and audio features that you have in their settings. There's some cool features right there to get your Zoom all set up, and then we'll go over the chat box, participation box, and some security features down in the bar right here. Okay, so hop on over to your camera, and then you have the little up arrow, and here are your virtual backgrounds. This is where you can pick a virtual background and filter. You can see the ones I have had that are a lot of fun to use, and these are great if you have a green screen. I just have a green piece of fabric thumbtacked up there, and it has worked great. You could also use virtual backgrounds for if you had just a blank wall behind you. And these are all of your settings. So here in video, you have the option to choose where your camera is coming from. So if you have an external webcam or a laptop webcam, you can choose which one you want your video to come from. You can mirror your video. That is swapping your background. I have that unchecked, so the words I have behind me are not flipped. And touch up my appearance. This one's cool to just kind of give yourself a softer look. So you can see the difference between it, and I can adjust it really soft or not. And it just slightly gives your video a filter. And I can click for a low light, and that will brighten up my video. If maybe I'm in the basement, I don't have good natural lighting, I can check that to make my video look a little brighter. Okay, always display participant's name on their video. Make sure this is checked. By default, it should be checked, but we want to see the names of our students, so this always needs to be checked. This one, turn off my video when joining a meeting. I have this one checked. That way when I enter the Outschool classroom, my video is automatically off. My camera's off because once you enter the classroom, it starts recording. So my video's off, and I can do the same for audio. Scroll down to the bottom, mute my microphone when joining a meeting. That way I am muted and my video's off as soon as I enter. You can pick what microphone you want to be picked up. So if you ever can't hear yourself in your video, or your students can't hear you, double check your microphone. Is it coming from a headset, or maybe you're going to pull it from your computer microphone? You can double check that to troubleshoot, why can't my students hear me if you're not muted? And then these are always default. This is how they are, and I put mute microphone when joining. Okay, share screen. There are some options. I haven't touched these ones. I've just let them all by default. And then backgrounds and filters. This is where you will upload a virtual background. If you're going to use that, you're going to click add image or a video right behind you, and then that's going to be in your options to choose from. So these are quick video and audio features for you to touch up your appearance with. Use a green screen. That's where you're going to find that. Your participants button. This is where you are going to see a list of your students and who's in it, all in the side, and then you can quickly see who is muted, who has their camera on and off, who's muted, and you have the options here. You can unmute myself. I can't unmute students, and you can rename your students as well. There's some options for you to do with your students. Ask all to unmute. That means I want everyone, ask them all at once to unmute. Mute participants upon entry. You can have this one checked. I don't have it checked. That way I can start having conversation with students as they're entering. Hey, how's it going? How's your day? I always have allow participants to unmute themselves and allow participants to rename themselves. This one you can have checked or you don't have to have checked. This means students, the name you see at the bottom, they're able to rename themselves. So sometimes I've been in a class and say Molly had her name, and then I look back and she has a bunch of emojis instead of her name. And then I'm like, oh, do I remember your name? Or let's pay attention to the lesson instead of worrying about renaming yourself. So you can, have this one checked or unchecked depending on your preference. Some students might not know they can do that depending on your age. Some might play around with it. Play sound when someone joins or leaves. This one should always be on, and it should always be on by default in the Outschool classroom. That way you don't leave a student out. You can hear the little chime, ding, someone's entered, and then you can let them in. And the waiting room is always checked. By default, it should always be checked. Okay, and then my options here, I can mute all my students at once. Invite, this is how I invite myself to a meeting. If I want to use my phone as a second camera, then I'm going to invite myself to the meeting. So I'll just click invite, click email, and then I will send myself an email. And it'll let me right in. And if you want to watch a video on how to use your phone as a second camera so it acts as a document camera, I do have another video for you. It's a real quick video on how you can do that and set that up. Now your options for the chat box, that is down here, the message icon. I can click that and it will just pop up right on the bottom of my participants button, and I have some options as well. So I can chat to everyone. So whatever I type in the chat box, hello, everyone will see that. Or I can click this down arrow and then everyone's student's name will pop up and I can choose to send a message to a specific student. This could be, I've used it in my math class. For students who are really getting it, then in the chat box, I will send that individual student just a quick problem for them to do. And then they can tell me the answer out loud or they can send it back in the chat box. That's one way I've used it in a lesson. I have more who participants can chat with. Now, students, when they chat back, they can have the option, whatever they send, it's going to go to everyone so everyone can see it. Or you can make it to host only. So whatever the students type in the chat box, only I can see that. Then it's not a distraction to all of students, but I can see it and they can still ask for help, or I can still engage with them, have a conversation with them, but it's not a distraction for everyone. So if you want that on to only you or to everyone, that's up to you and your class and your learners. If it's becoming a distraction in your class, for that particular class that you have, I would go ahead and just make it host only, and then that will eliminate that distraction. But sometimes that's a nice option to have so students can work together. Some options you have with this, the chat box, I can, if I click this down arrow, I can minimize, close, make it pop out. Pop out will bring this into its own little box. This makes it nice, so when I go ahead and share my screen, then I still have this box popped out. Otherwise it would have disappeared. Just like the chat box. I can't see the chat box anymore, it disappeared. But if I pop it out, share my screen, then I can have the chat box down at the bottom half or wherever on your screen, so I can still keep an eye on that. Now, how do you put it back? So I want it back on the side window. I don't want it right, that's just distracting and it's going to be in students' faces if I have it popped out while I'm just using Zoom. So So you're going to click the three dots and then merge in meeting window, and that will put it back on the side, not in your way. Same with participants. Merge with meeting window and it will put it back on the side. And I can close it if I'm done with it. If I click this button, it's going to close the meeting. So I have to click the down arrow, close, down arrow, close. And that will just completely get rid of it. Another feature that you are going to use all the time in your Zoom classes is sharing your screen. So down here at the bottom, share screen. This is how you are going to share your lesson with your students and your activities, by sharing your screen. There are 3 different options to share: advanced and basic. You can share a portion of your screen, you can share a PowerPoint as a virtual background, or the basic, click on it and that will share your entire screen. If you want a deeper look on sharing your screen and the best ways and what each of them are useful for, then go ahead and check out this video on how to share your screen, and I dive deep into just sharing your screen and why those 3 are useful and what you can use them for. The last feature I want to go is how you view your students. So I'm going to get a couple more screens in here and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, now I have some more students in here. So as you can see in my participants button, I can see who's already in the meeting and I can see who's in the waiting room. So when I am starting my Outschool class, I have the participants button, or the participants side panel, up already, so I can see students as they're coming in and who's already in. So in order to let a student in, you just click admit and he'll pop right up. Once you have students into your meeting, you have several different options to view your screen. So one, you have up here, just hover up here, you have the view. Right now we are in gallery view. This means I will be able to see all students at the same time. If I click speaker view, that means whoever is speaking or being the loudest will pop up nice and big for everyone to see. So maybe I'm the one presenting and teaching, but a student coughs or makes a noise, scoots their chair, then it's going to hop to that student for a second if they're not muted. So personally I like and I normally use gallery view. You have a couple different options for specific videos. So here we have unmute. I'm only on myself. I cannot unmute other students, but I can have these options. I can ask them to start their video. I can chat with them, and that's going to go directly to that person. Spotlight your video will make your video nice and big for everyone, and everyone will be on the side or on the top, all your students, but you or the video you're spotlighting will put the focus on that video, like a spotlight. You are shining a spotlight on you, so you're nice and big for everyone to see. I've used this when I am teaching and I have like a whiteboard and I want students to be able to see what's on my whiteboard. I will spotlight the video. If I use my phone as a second camera, that way I can have my whiteboard down on the table and use it, solve math problems. I can spotlight that video so it's just on my whiteboard and it's nice and big for all of my students. Spotlight's a great option. Maybe you're spotlighting a student, you want to show their work they did in class. You can help everyone easily see what you want the focus on your class to be. Now the other one is, I'm going to remove spotlight from me, is pin video. Now pinning a video does not change the view for your students. I'm pinning this video, so I'm the focus for my video feed, but on my student screen it does not change. Your students can pin your video so it's nice and big for them, but that won't change their view of you. And those are some different options with viewing your video, spotlight and pinning, and the difference between the two. So Spotlight will put a spotlight on your video for all students. Pinning video just makes it easy for you to see a certain video feed. Thanks for watching and learning all about Zoom. I hope these features help you start off your Outschool classes nice and smooth, and you're familiar with Zoom and how to use all of its basic features to help you get started. Make sure to like and subscribe this video down below so you will be notified when more Zoom video tips come out to help you have a successful class. Watch out for my whiteboard video. I will show you where I walk you through how to use the whiteboard and some ideas for you to use it in class, as well as all of the annotate features you have and your student has. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you later.